that's always been my thing. They don't know what to do with me, and I always say that if you don't like me, it's because you haven't figured out what to do with me yet.
Sure.
Right? Like, I'm an acquired taste.
You're in purgatory.
Right? I know exactly who I am. I know that I am not everyone's cup of tea.
Right.
But I can be anyone's cup of tea once they figure out how to use me for what they need to get
I love
done.
it.
Hey guys, Alex Rich.
Ben Corimba.
Hey, we are excited to let you know that we have episodes of our podcast, Jews in the Lou, dropping every other week, and you're not going to want to miss. We have some great guests lined up.
Amazing. And while I have you, I want to thank the St. Louis Jewish Light for their incredible partnership and support of our podcast. St. Louis Jewish Light doing amazing work for our community, keeping us informed with stories, with updates.
And visit stljewishlight.org. Subscribe to their newsletter. They'll keep you up to date on everything going on.
Absolutely. See you soon.
Danny, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you coming out.
I love being here.
Awesome. And you're familiar with Jews in the Lou?
I am familiar with Jews in the Lou.
Okay, awesome.
It is my honor to be on Jews in the
Well,
Lou. I don't know how I got selected.
No, you made the short list.
Oh, great.
The short list. Obviously, you can tell it's just me today. You were the other Jew in the Lou.
Right.
Ben, obviously, I'll just say straight up, has been dealing with a lot with the tornado damage, getting his restaurants reopened and all that good
That's
stuff.
important.
And so, luckily, he's able to do that. So
I'll come back for another one. Like
you'll
in
be
6
back.
months,
You'll be
right?
back for another one for sure.
Nothing bad with
But
that.
you're not originally from St. Louis,
I'm
right?
from Omaha, Nebraska.
What do people need to know about Danny Cohn? Omaha, Nebraska is
If I told
great.
you all the secrets, then I would have nothing left in my bag.
So I
right?
get it. Omaha, were you a college baseball fan? College World Series?
I did swing choir. My brother was the sports. No, but we used to go to College World Series. It used to be at Johnny Rosenblatt Stadium, named after the first Jewish mayor of Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah. And we used to sit behind the scouts. So my dad had been friends with the commissioner, and we'd sit behind the scouts from the Dodgers or whoever it was.
Yeah.
And of course, that's all lost on like an 8-year-old. Like, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
College World Series, that and Berkshire Hathaway weekend are the 2 weekends you want to come to Omaha. Free Dairy Queen on one and good baseball on the other.
Yeah.
But I came to St. Louis a lot as a kid because I did BBYO.
Okay.
And so we were in the same region.
Yep.
Had my first kiss with a Jewish girl at Sabra during a BBYO
Is that right?
convention. Yes.
How about that?
The name will go to the grave with me because I believe she is still here in St. Louis.
Is that right?
Yeah, right.
That's fun.
So St. Louis is,
Everybody's got a little Sabra story, I feel like, right?
A little bit.
That's fun.
It was a great place for BBYO. Now, I wasn't a camper there, right? It was just BBYO conclaves and conventions. But it's great. I hope to get up there this summer and actually, be a part of it.
Yeah, when's the last time you went back to Sabra?
30 years ago.
That infamous kiss years ago, right?
Yeah.
You just turned 30?
I just turned 30. I will be 48, and so late bloomer, Kiss was at 17.
Okay.
And so 31 years ago at Sabra.
Awesome.
No, 30, yeah, 31. My
And
math
now
is horrible.
It comes full circle because obviously now you're back in St. Louis.
Right.
So you lived in Omaha, or where did you come from when you
I came
came from St. Louis?
my parents. Their name were Pam and Jeff.
I love it. We don't even need that today. You got it.
And they came from their parents. I was born in Omaha, educated at the University of Kansas.
Okay.
Journalism.
Jayhawk.
Jayhawk journalism degree. So if there's any Mizzou journalism people out there, don't
Plenty
hold
of
it
them.
against me. Went to San Francisco during the .com boom. Lasted for about a year there. Midwestern Jewish boy does not fit well in San Francisco.
It's a tough place.
Horrible. I mean, it's lovely. But for me, it was not.
I get it.
And then I went to the Mecca, Chicago, and I spent 17 years there. Met my husband there.
Okay.
Worked for a global PR firm called Edelman and their subsidiary agencies for basically my entire life. Ran the Allstate insurance business, helped close down Sears, launched Axe deodorant body spray. So if you have any teenagers in your home that spray that, or perhaps you sprayed it
You were
yourself,
part of
the initial launch. Yes.
Is that right?
I had a Facebook account before Facebook was public because that's how we pushed out the messaging for Axe. It was a college campaign, so we were working with the Facebook. Remember, it was called the Facebook 100 years ago.
Yeah, and it was like you had to be
in college.
Yeah, you had to be in college, and then it kind of worked its way.
Yeah. So that's my claim to fame.
That's incredible.
An early Facebook adopter. And then I woke up. We adopted a newborn in 2015. My daughter Nora, who is now 10.
Congratulations.
Thank you. She is the light of my life. The best thing that I have ever done aside from my husband. Actually, maybe better than my husband, but I love being a girl dad. And then decided one day that I had had enough of making other people rich, and I wanted to use my skill set to advance our people, Am Yisrael.
Right.
So I spent 5 years trying to break into the federation system, and finally they called and ended up in Birmingham, Alabama, which is, two gay Jews leading the only deep southern bastion of Jewish
You don't hear that every day.
between Atlanta and New Orleans. Like, of course that's the first place you'd send me, right? Like, why not? Out of every place in the world that I could do something.
Yeah.
Started my Jewish journey 5 days before COVID, right?
Wow.
So new city, south. I don't even have my family because they're stuck.
So
right?
you were in Birmingham
I was in
yourself
COVID,
at this point.
when COVID hit. But I know how to do crisis communications, right? And so it was like, this is perfect. And COVID worked. I mean, it's horrible that we had it, but I think that I always say that, like, I have a direct line to God, even though I'm not a rabbi.
Yeah.
And I think that God probably put me down there because I knew what I was going to be doing during it. About a year ago, my daughter said there were not enough Jews in Birmingham, that she felt othered, and she goes, Abba, we have to move. So what did I do? Threw the resume up in the air.
Yeah.
Here we are in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And it's great.
I love that. And obviously, like you said, I think being Jewish in the South is one thing. When you talk about being gay and Jewish in the South,
It's a double mitzvah.
How did that? How did you overcome, obviously, a lot of obstacles that maybe were thrown at you, like, throughout the process? Did you see anything that you were like, well, first, I guess, maybe where you had your doubts, but anything that kind of stuck out to you where you were like, you know what? Like, no, I'm going to overcome this, and here's how I'm going to do this.
It's so interesting because when Birmingham called, my husband's like, take the interview. It'll be the hardest interview you've ever had. You're not going to get the job, but answer the questions, and then we can go on and do what we want to do. Well, obviously the interview went well. I wish I could tell you there was something to overcome. Okay, I wish I could tell you that we got down there and I faced immense tragedy and I had to climb a mountain and walk to school without any shoes, and the JCC burned down and I ran in and I saved the Torah. Like, nothing happened like that. It was like, they took me for my skill set, right? And listen, tokenism in America is alive and well, okay? You just have to learn how to play it.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to play it. Like, Golda Meir has this very famous quote. Kissinger comes to Israel and she needs something from him, and he goes, Prime Minister, you have to remember that first I am Secretary of State, then I'm American, and then I'm Jewish. And she goes, but you forget, Mr. Secretary of State, in Israel, we read right to left. Okay? So, like, that's always been my right to left. Like, I lead with Jewish. The rest of my life is just over here.
Yeah.
And it's not even something that I even carry with me on cognitively in anything I do. It's so not, it's who I am, but it doesn't really have a bearing on how I live my life.
Do you feel like whether the people you're connecting with are Jewish or not, that's still something you always like to lead with? Or do you feel like, given, we don't like to get too political with this conversation, but like, given the state of the world, I guess, is that something that you've had to reevaluate with how you introduce yourself to people?
I knew when I took a job in the Jewish community that I was going to lose my voice. Like, I was going to have the voice of a community. How I felt about social issues, irrelevant. How I felt about political issues, irrelevant. So it doesn't really change anything. Like, I really am here to serve the community. If you know where I'm standing on an issue, then I'm not doing my job the right way.
Yeah.
So I haven't found it to be an issue. My investors haven't found it to be an issue. My communities haven't found it to be an issue. Listen, we're a federation family.
Right.
Okay? My husband is very active in everything I do. He's very supportive. My daughter loves being Jewish. Like, we live the values of the federation, and that's all that I care about people saying. Like, the makeup of my family, whether you agree with it or not, has absolutely nothing to do
Sure.
with how you think that the Jew should or should not be
Right.
supported. Now, let's be honest. There are many in a Jewish community that are swaths of religion that are not going to have me into their homes because of who I am. But at the end of the day, I am their safety net. Like,
Yeah.
the Federation is a central address. We are the firehouse or the insurance company that has been built before something burns down or you
Right.
need something. And whether you like me or not, it's irrelevant. It's whether you love the community that you're in,
Yeah.
and do you want to see the community go forward, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm always telling people right now, come to the Federation, check your politics at the door, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just come and be Jewish, right? When Federation was started 125 years ago, the Jews weren't asking, like, who did you vote for? Or
Right.
how do you feel about potentially a state of Israel? They were
Right.
saying, okay, we have needs in the community. It is up to us to take care of our community members, because if we don't, who will?
Right.
And that's what we're going to do, right?
So-
As a community.
Totally. So how do you feel now that you're in St. Louis? Obviously, you're still in the first, 6 months of your new role.
I'm in my 92nd day today.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, mazel.
Thank you.
Well, cheers to that, right?
992. I wish it would have been 90, because then it would have been like a high something, but 92.
Totally, right? How do you mentioned obviously like being a part of the community, coming in here, creating ultimately a safe space for Jewish people, and knowing that you're community oriented, not even specifically just towards Jewish people, but people that are just ingrained in the community. What are some of the first things that you, I guess, have already started to look at doing as CEO of the Jewish Federation here? But where do you kind of see, what's your vision?
Okay. Well,
I know it's a big question.
It's a big question. There are two things that are extremely important right now that are top of mind. One is external facing, one is internal. So let's start with the internal. Like, we need to ensure as a federation that every Jew, regardless of who they are, feels that there are no barriers of entry to participating in Jewish life in St. Louis. Like, that is extremely important.
Easy access.
Easy access. I don't want to hear that you can't afford to go something.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that your child can't go to college. I don't want to hear that there's not an avenue to summer camp. I don't want to hear that there's a program or service that you need that the community isn't offering. Like, we are a communal organization.
Yeah.
And again, we're the ones with the big hug. If we don't create it, if we don't do it, if we don't fund it, it's not going to happen. We are the central address. And so I think it's training that muscle memory of people to remember, like, okay, this is what the roots of Federation are. This is how we have been successful. We're turning 125 next year, and we need to set ourselves up for success for the next 125 years. Now, on the other side, a big change we're making is we're bringing public affairs, we're really amping up our public affairs capabilities within the Federation itself. And so whether it is expanding our relationships with elected officials, working with school districts in conjunction with ADL and JCRC on training around Holocaust education with the Holocaust Center, or around anti-Semitism, we are going to position ourselves as the voice of the Jewish community. And you're probably thinking, well, Danny, the Jewish community swaths extremely wide. How can you be that voice? Very good question.
Yeah.
The issues that we are going to tackle are squarely Jewish issues, right? Whether it's homeland security, Holocaust education, immigration, things that matter to our constituents and to our investors. Now, there are plenty of social causes going out there which absolutely need attention, but we're so lucky to live in a community that has specialized agencies for that. So, National Council of Jewish Women with Amendment 3, things like that. Like, we're so lucky that we have a swath of areas for people to go and exercise that. So, really elevating and eradicating anti-Semitism, and it's like, how are you going to eradicate anti-Semitism? It's a very good question. If I knew,
we'd all there. It's something that you're never going to be able to do.
No, but I want people to know that, like, you call the Federation. I mean, we spend over $1.5 million every year on security for the community.
Sure.
Right? So it's like, even if it's just talking about that, fine. But I don't think a lot of people know how much money we spend on security.
Right.
Like, no one's really worrying
Well, and people
about
don't always see it too. Whether you're going to different events, and like, I'm a Maccabi baseball coach actually, and this is now I think I'm going into my 3rd or 4th year coaching Maccabi. I love it. It's a great, it's a way to give back to the younger generation and be involved in obviously the Jewish youth community.
Yeah.
and when we go to those events, last year we were in Detroit and the security was, higher than it's ever been, but you would never know on the ground looking around because, like you're saying, there's probably so much money invested into making sure that it does stay low key so that people don't get this scared feeling as far as the forces on the ground. Like, it doesn't need to always be something that's right in front of your face, right?
No, I mean, no one should ever have a worry about going to anything being Jewish, right? Like,
I agree, totally.
And we are doing a lot of training on situational awareness right now for the community, and it's just a matter of educating yourself.
Yeah.
Like, but you can't stop going.
No.
You can't stop doing.
No, and you're not going to stop. You're not going to stop telling people you're Jewish. You're not going to stop being Jewish. It's part of you. It's part of who you are. And those are things that you're not going to let anti-Semitism take you away from.
No.
It's who you are.
No, and you know something? Like, bring it. Bring it on. Like, it is... I'm going to be 48 years old this year, okay? I'm in my 6th year of Jewish journeying as far as... But 48 years of living, and I'm tired of fighting. Like, we just need to live.
Yeah.
And push forward and not worry about it.
Right.
We'll get to a point. We will get to a point where people are feeling better about what is going on, but the world's in turmoil right now. And I wake up the first thing in the morning, it's check my phone, see if Scott Biondo, thank God we have him for security.
He's the best.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
And the security is, I'm more concerned with security right now than I'm about fundraising. And that's a horrible thing for a federation director to say.
Yeah.
But I'd rather have my people safe.
Yeah.
And so whatever we have to do, and again, there hasn't been any elevated threats. I just think that we have to look at ways that we can improve, whether it's vetting names more clear, or training our agency partners to get a longer runway as to who they're having into their building so they can vet things like that. But listen, I am not worried to go anywhere in St. Louis, and nor should anyone be.
No, nor should anyone. And, obviously, like you've said, that it's a community where we're all really in this together. You brought up a great point, and I'm not trying to age you or anything.
No,
you said you're 48 years old. You've been in the Jewish, I guess, workspace for the last 6 years. Most people, I think, would say, rabbis obviously make those decisions at a young age, that they're going to go into being involved in Jewish work. What was the significant factor in your life? You were, I guess, living in Chicago at the time. You talked about you wanted to get out of the marketing, but you were doing something that probably a lot of people wish that they would have done or wanted to do, right? Building these giant brands, these multi-million-dollar brands into what they are today. But what was it specifically that clicked in your head that you said, I'm ready to make this jump into something completely different?
So it's
because you didn't study Judaism other than being
just
a part
Hebrew
of
school. Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. No. I don't have a degree in Jewish studies. I went back and got a master's in public administration. There were two things. So when Nora was born, I had taken 12 weeks parental leave, and I knew that I couldn't go back to doing what I was doing. I loved this child too much, and I needed to be present. Yeah. And I also wanted to do something that should be oh, my Abba is actually doing something to make the world better for me. That was, I was 38 when I had her. We were older, but more financially secure. I had the ability that a lot of younger parents don't have.
Sure.
And it's this is how I'm going to plot out the rest of my life. I was sitting in a federation. We were actually living in Omaha. We had gone from Chicago to Omaha after Nora was born, multi-generational family. I needed to figure out what I wanted to do. It was a good place to regroup. My parents were there. And I came home from a federation meeting one night. I was sitting on the board. And at this point, when you're new to town and you can write a check, they have you on everything, right? So I am chairing the ADL for Kansas, Nebraska, and Iowa. I'm on the board of the federation. I'm on the board of the day school. I'm on the board of the Jewish Historical Society, wherever they need me, right? And I would come home every month from the federation meetings, and I'd be so irritated. So irritated because Federation was a brand that's dying. It's a legacy institution. Yeah. And we need Federation, okay? I always tell someone, and I'll use St. Louis as an example, if we needed to evacuate the Jews tomorrow, Baruch Hashem, like nothing is going to happen.
Right,
But if
right.
we needed to evacuate the Jews tomorrow, what is the one organization that has the ability and the funds to get steamships down the Mississippi into the Gulf of Mexico loaded with Jews? Who can do that for you?
The JFED.
Yeah,
Jewish Federation.
Right. And so
It's who you go to.
it's exactly who you go to.
It's
So-
who you lean on.
And I wanted to make sure that the insurance policy and the fire department were up to date for the next generation. And I wasn't seeing it. And
Yeah.
we weren't seeing activity. And my husband and I we were chairing Ben Gurion, and we were chairing campaign kickoffs, and we were doing new programming, and we were getting the younger generation involved.
Right.
But then what? And I said, you know something? I could sit on the other side of this table and write respectable checks.
But you want to know. You want to know where that. You want to be the part of where they're actually going and making those
Right.
decisions.
So I was going to be a respectable donor for the rest of my life, or I was going to take a huge pay cut and determine the fate of a community, and that sounded like more fun.
Well, it's a lot more rewarding.
I was very good at what I did before,
Yeah.
and I hated going to work every single day.
You got to get something out of it, and I think that's one thing that I like having these conversations with different people, because you learn so much about people that you wouldn't necessarily see surface level.
Right.
Where, hey, it's not always like you could do all these different things for all this different money, but at the end of the day, if you're not getting the satisfaction of being able to make an actual difference in a community, then what's the point? Like you said,
Absolutely.
you could have all the money in the world, but what's the point?
Now,
And we talk about, we sat down with Michael Steinberg, and he kind of said the same thing.
another Omaha boy.
Another Omaha guy, and he says ultimately the same thing. You want to make sure that what you're doing is giving back to actually make a difference.
Absolutely.
We're in a world where everybody's asking for donations. There's so many different charities, so many different organizations that you could donate to,
Sure.
and do all these different things. But it's a matter of what specific difference is it making in the people that you're donating to, right? Like, where's it going? What's it doing?
Well, and Federation has 45 local agencies that we support here, and 85 across the world. And every once in a while, I'll get a call from someone that says, "Why should I do federated giving, as opposed to just giving to the organization?" And I said, here's the deal: you're giving as a Jewish communal body. Like, you're saying that what is important to the Jewish community is important to me, and I want to be part of the momentum that the Jewish community is building. But we also have a different level of accountability with our agencies, right? Like, we know what they're accomplishing. We know who's been off. We know who's been on. We know what the programs are. Like, we should be your philanthropic partner through everything. Like, I'm not out there like trying to say, "Give me all your money,"
No.
right? But like, we do know what is going on with all 45 of the agencies much better than an individual donor would be. And by all means, if you want to give directly to the agency, go ahead. But there is something to be said about buying in to the Jewish community and saying that this insurance policy and fire department is important to me as well.
So dumb that down a little bit as far as like this federation. You talk about all the different organizations, Jewish organizations that you guys are connected with throughout the community. It's obviously it's different from the J. It's different from everything else. It's its own entity, but I guess an umbrella that all these other organizations sit underneath, right?
I mean, you could say that. I don't know that the other agencies would say that they're part of my umbrella, but really we are the central address for the Jewish community.
Yeah.
And so like we keep an eye on what is going on. New agencies come to us that we fund. Matobu in the city is a good example. We are in a 3-year funding deal with them to get them up and running. We fund Crown Center, we fund Covenant Place, we fund some partnerships with NCJW, JFS. Like, there isn't anything. AJC, ADL, there isn't in camp, right? We just sent 80 Jewish kids on scholarship to camp for summer camp this year, right? Like, through one happy camper. And we ran out of money, so we had to go get more.
I love
like,
it, though.
It is like this, we are looking at everything from cradle to grave, or as Steve Rosenzweig likes to say, baby to bubby.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that the funding's there. And like, it's expensive to be Jewish. Like,
totally.
Let us help you.
Totally. And I think you bring up a great point, because we talked to Stephen as well. And you talk about funding some of the ability for these children to go to camp and learn. And, I think personally, you learn a lot going to synagogue growing up, going to camp growing up. What are some other things, or what are some other things that, like, that you guys are doing other than funding kids going to camp to continue on to spread that to the younger demographics? Because I do think that, you know, it is troubling sometimes when you think about, are my kids going to be raised Jewish the same way that I was raised Jewish? Is religion the same as it used to be? I don't think that necessarily being Jewish is always about the religious practices of what you're doing. It's obviously I think a cultural thing, you know.
I think it's a people, it's a tribe. So
100%.
So to me, it's a religion because that's what the box we've been forced into, right? But like, we are genetically related to each other.
Yes.
Like, it is an ethnic
You
tribe.
can't explain it either.
It is a people, it is a tribal. So listen, we have an issue right now in America where a lot of these younger Z's feel like they were miseducated.
Totally.
Okay. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Right?
Yeah.
What are we going to do about this? You know, we fund BBYO, right? We fund Jewish Student Union. We fund programs through the JCRC, like the Be the Narrative student-to-student training. Like, whatever we need to do or we're asked to fund, we do it. It's important. We have a new funding mechanism coming out in August that we're putting another $400,000 back into the community for agile grant making for anyone. Any 501c3 that can show that they're promoting Jewish vibrancy or health and human services, come to us in money. Like, this is how we can't get it out fast
Don't
enough.
be afraid to have you're saying, like, don't be afraid to come have the conversation.
No,
if you just have questions, come talk to
well,
you
and
guys.
so, like, another example is I'm meeting with the Israeli Scouts next week. Like, we don't, Federation right now doesn't support the Israeli Scouts.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know. But we're going to find out why. Like, we need to build the infrastructure right now for our youth and our teens. It's kind of a desert out there.
Right.
Like I said, there's some Rabbi Ripinski's doing some really good work, as is BBYO, but like, USY's gone, right? Tifty, Nifty, Mofty, gone.
Yes.
It is, so what are we doing?
And I was kind of on the back end of that too, because it was like, even the kids, I'm 34, and even the people, I would say, that are 3 to 5 years younger than me, really, I saw the decline. Like, my brother was very involved with the BBYO. I was involved as much as I could be. I played some sports, so I couldn't really go away to camp or conventions and things like that. But then I look at some of my younger cousins and some of their friends and things like that, and you can tell it was like, it's kind of, people are less involved than they were. And you're saying that's because some of the resources had been cut away.
I think some of the resources have been cut away. I mean, I have other theories, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe that soccer practice on Wednesday night isn't as important as BBYO. Like, the parents are going to come for me for saying that.
Right.
Like, my daughter plays tennis. She's an art. Like, we still manage to get the Jewish in, right?
Yeah.
Like, it is what people are prioritizing in their homes as well. So I can't set personal priorities, but I can absolutely give them the resources to ensure that when and if they want their children to be educated or surrounded by Jewish kids or whatever that may be, there's going to be something for them to do when they decide they want to.
Yeah, which is promising to hear, because it is, we say, hey, we're a family, we're a community. You truly are. Like, you're there to help people do the thing. If you want to be engraved in the Jewish community and you want to do something that you maybe weren't able to do, the JFed, the Jewish Federation, is going to help you do those things.
Absolutely, and it's not just about Federation, right? So it's like, you call me and it's like, these are my interests. Like, I at least know where to send you.
Let's create something. You'll
or maybe you're better off volunteering for the J, or maybe you should be the food pantry at JFS. Like, there's a lot of different ways. Like, listen, we have women's philanthropy. We're playing mahjong next month. Like, we literally have a little something. For everyone, but it's all based in philanthropy, right? Like, let me be very clear. Like, we're not trying to get into the program business.
Right.
I'm trying to get into the giving the money away, philanthropy forward, so that we have this community offering everything that people want.
Yeah.
You still got to be a little social. I mean, people want to come and not just give money. They want to come and play mahjong, or they want to hear a speaker, and that's great. Like, and I'm all for it, right? But when it comes to brass tacks about getting things done, like, come to the Federation.
Sure.
Tell us what we're missing.
Yeah.
It's so strange. We have this beautiful building on campus. I don't feel like no one comes into the Federation building unless there's a meeting. I would like it to be the people's house. Like, I know how weird that sounds, but like, I would like people just to be able to, like, drop in. Like, I'm always available. People can come in and talk to me or kvetch. Love complainers.
Love it.
Love it. I
Yep.
mean, the first 2 weeks I was here, I think I had complaining every single day.
Yeah.
But I got news for you. It worked, and we got a lot of stuff started because, one complaint is another person's treasure, right?
Yeah.
It's a problemtunity, not a problem.
Totally.
So, I think that Federation, that's the vision.
Yeah.
That's the course that we're charted on. And we just need to ensure that you can just be Jewish.
And I think that you, just in this conversation having with you, it's promising and exciting to see like your energy and your personality and your just ability to come in and make people feel comfortable. I mean, like you're creating, like religion is perceived as not always a fun space, right? But like you're saying, like let's focus on the goals and the things that we need to do.
Right.
But let's have fun. Let's be people. We enjoy each other, right? That we all make the people around us better. And it seems as you as ultimately our Jewish community leader in St. Louis, that everything you just said, it sounds like a very promising direction, and I appreciate that someone that's from St. Louis.
I mean,
and Jewish.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it doesn't have to be work. I have not had a bad day in 6 years, okay? I started during 5 days before COVID, right? Then George Floyd happened, war in Ukraine. The war in Israel broke out. I was there 6 days after the war started on the first American fly-in.
Really?
Lying in a ditch in Ashkelon as I saw the Iron Dome work above me.
Really?
And I've never had a bad day.
Wow.
I've never had a bad day.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And it's like I wake up every morning and I'm so thankful that I get to do what I get to do.
Yeah.
It's never in my life that I think I'd be happy going to work.
Right.
That's like a
Right.
myth. Right? That's like
Totally.
it's a myth. You're either independently wealthy
Yeah.
or you're miserable.
Right.
I love what I do.
Yeah.
And so the fact that I get to come do it in a Midwestern city that's got great schools and a great place to raise a family
Yep.
and a variety of options for synagogues and, the kosher deli we're in one, right? Like,
Yeah.
we can take a few more,
Yeah,
right? Like
100%.
it's not as-
100%.
Right, a few more.
Well, that gets us to some good conversation of like, you're in St. Louis. Talk about what are your favorite places so far. I want to hear some of this stuff. Your favorite
so
places
it's so funny
far?
because I have been doing parlor meetings almost every night. So someone in the community invites 20 people to their house. I stand up, I tell them about veneration. We have some wine and cheese, and then it's 11 o'clock at night, and I go home.
And you guys,
So I really love the St. Louis Club, and I know how bougie that makes me sound.
It's all right.
But they have great food. It's a great place to get a drink.
Yep.
I don't know anyone, right? So it is a place for me to just kind of go and decompress.
Yeah.
And I love it there.
Okay.
I love Lulu's Chinese.
Lulu's is great.
Lulu's Chinese is one of my favorite go-tos. We ate at Chris's last night for the first time. My husband came to town.
It's great.
Listen, I'm from Nebraska. Who doesn't love a piece of rare
100%.
prime rib? And
Do you think we do it well here?
The prime rib was excellent.
Okay, good.
The prime rib was excellent.
Good.
I mean,
Good.
It made a Nebraska boy really, really happy last night.
That's promising.
It is promising. We have a new Lefties on campus, so I'm getting. I haven't had his bagels yet, but I mean, it's promising. It's promising that I can get a bagel on my way to work.
Now, we've talked to a couple people that were originally from New York.
Okay.
And Ben flies his bagels in from New York to
The
here.
bagels or the water?
The bagels.
Okay.
But it has been, I think, before Deli Divine, Lefties, some of the other places in town, it really was kind of hard to find a really good, solid bagel that wasn't like an Einstein's or like, I mean, we have Bread Company here, but like Bread Co. doesn't stick out for,
it's
not a bagel. It's not a bagel.
No.
So you would say you're also from Omaha.
Listen, so my mom would make bagels growing up.
Okay.
And it would be from a recipe from my great-grandmother from Bialystok, and it would say a pinch of this and a dash of that and a sprechel and a pechel, and it's like there was no one makes pretzel and bagel like my mother. Like it is like, screw New York, forget St. Louis. Like there's nothing like your mom's homemade. And then in Omaha, we had really good kosher bagels too. Like I grew up with excellent bagels, whether it would be from the bagel bin. You'll have to ask someone else from Omaha too, bagel bin, or whether it's my mom. So listen, I'm more concerned about the pastrami quality
The
than
pastrami,
right,
I will say,
right.
it is hard to find good pastrami because everybody thinks that they do good pastrami.
I just ordered it in from Katz's.
Katz's is, and the way they make their sandwiches, like, it's out of a movie.
Truth be told, I prefer Second Avenue.
Okay. I haven't had it.
Second Avenue Deli. When
It's really good?
It's like, that is, well, it's kosher, right? So Katz's isn't kosher, which is fine.
Are you kosher?
Oh, I'm not kosher.
Okay.
No. But when it comes to like the good stuff,
Yeah.
right?
It's always kosher.
It's gotta be kosher.
And is that just like, I try to tell my friends that
It's
aren't
higher
Jewish
quality.
and I'm like, the kosher meat is what you always go for.
Absolutely.
Any chance
Anywhere.
you get.
Anywhere.
It doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's like the Wagyu of non-Wagyu.
I explain this to people and they're like, oh, I don't understand how it's any better. And I'm like, only Jewish people can, like, you can say this to another Jewish person and they understand.
Listen, I have a
it.
thing with chicken on the bone. Okay, like it's like this whole shtick.
Yep.
Mainly because my mom was a really bad cook. When it came to chicken, it would always be pink after it came off of the grill.
Sure.
So now I will only eat kosher chicken.
Okay.
On the bone.
And it's always on the bone?
It's always on the bone.
Yep.
Because the pieces are smaller, right? They're not. I know that it's going to be cooked, but it's also like that whole process of the salt water and getting everything, all the bloods. I don't know. It makes me feel better. I'm not a vegetarian. I love meat, but the kosher is the way I'm
It
going.
is, totally.
I can't. It's like I was as a child. I can't get it out of my head.
You weren't raised kosher either?
No.
Bar mitzvah?
Oh, of course, yeah. My husband and I actually had the same Torah portion. We're 3 years apart.
Is that right?
And it was Korach.
Okay.
We both were bar mitzvahed in June. Neither one of us.
I was bar mitzvahed in June as well.
Neither one of us have a June birthday.
Okay.
And it was on Rosh Chodesh. And so the Torah portion wasn't even the real Torah portion. It was the Rosh Chodesh. So it is so
It's like
weird
full circle.
that we would have the same Torah portion.
How did you guys meet?
We met on J-Date.
Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. I like this.
It was the precursor to J-Date. It was called gayjews.net. J-Date.
Swear
to God.
It was called
gayjews.net.
gayjews.net.
Right, and it was acquired by J-Date.
Okay. And you were signed up on this website.
We were signed up on this website.
Unbelievable.
Andrew had seen my picture, thought it was a horrible picture, and never approached me. He's like, the picture of you was so bad.
What was the picture?
I can't even tell you. I don't even know what it was, okay? So I know, right? So we
gotta flash this across the screen. Gayjews.net.
Right.
This is it.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe a billboard.
Yeah.
Success story, right?
Yeah,
Actually,
100%.
It was so funny because
This is not a paid endorsement.
No, I was on Instagram, and there are, you get down these Instagram posts,
Totally.
and there's a gay Jewish family in Ann Arbor that's about our age. And again, I don't know how it made it into my algorithm, but they too met on Gay Jews. And it
Okay.
was like one of these random things.
I
It
love
was
it.
like, okay. So I met Andrew in Chicago. I was done dating. He had just graduated college, so he was like 21, if even that. I was 25. Showed up. I had a Flavor Saver, like you were too young to
Like a
remember.
little soul patch?
Okay.
Okay. I can see it.
Right, and I showed up in like cargo pants and ripped cargo jeans and like a frayed sweater. And I knew the second I sat down I was going to marry him. Like,
Okay.
I knew that.
Love that.
So we met in October. He came, I was representing Jamie Oliver on book tour. He came with me on book tour 2 weeks later to New York. And then he was in Omaha for Thanksgiving in November. Okay, so we're sitting at my dining room table. Andrew's from Denver. My mother's a Jew from Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Okay.
And my grandfather, may he rest in peace, says to Andrew, do you know the Goodsteins? And Andrew goes, my grandmother is a Goodstein. And he goes, well, I dated Arlene Goodstein in 1938 in Casper, Wyoming. It was Andrew's grandmother's first cousin. So it was
No
like,
way.
yeah,
Out of Wyoming,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
like 14 people,
Well,
right?
the Jews were there for oil in Casper. There's maybe 100 left. I'm a very proud.
Yeah.
Proud. My family got land when before it was a state.
Sure.
And went out there and tilled the soil.
Yeah.
But that was like kind of the basheret. So we've been together since 2002. We're 23 years together, and 19 married this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's incredible. But that is such the stereotypical, like, if you're Jewish, you happen to ask, like, do you know this person?
Right.
I've never been at a meal or an event with other Jewish people I haven't met where somehow you find a connection back to somebody some way. That's incredible.
But like, it was so close for my
So it was like your
My
grandfather
grandfather
dated
his grandmother's first cousin.
Unreal.
In Casper,
Unbelievable.
Wyoming. Right.
Not even like
It's not even like Chicago or like, Denver. Like
it's not even like they're next to each
No,
other.
it's like Casper, Wyoming.
Which I've never even heard of Casper,
Well,
Wyoming.
you should. My grandfather was born in Thermopolis. I mean, there are Jews all over the place.
Unbelievable.
Right.
That's an incredible story.
Yeah. So that is, and 23 years later, and a career change, and 3 states, and I think we're on our 8th house. Like, here we are.
When you said your first kiss was a girl, I mean, I'll ask,
No, it's fine.
at what age did you come out as gay?
So I came out.
Or do you remember or do you remember the moment?
I know the moment. So Boyd, you're really asking for a story.
We're digging
here.
deep.
So
This is what Jews in the Loop
I
is
love
about.
it. I love it. You're going to get such good footage. Everyone's going to know everything. In December of 97. December of 97. Yeah. So I would have been 20. Yeah. I went to Israel with Federation. Like, it was a Federation trip. And I came back gay from Israel.
Is that right?
I came out in Israel. I came back. Consequently, my brother was never. My dad said, "You are not going to Israel." My dad was not going to lose. Was not going to lose 2 sons. So my brother did not go to Israel until he was like 38. My mom took him. My dad was so afraid he was going to lose. I mean, you have to remember, this is 97. Like, it was a scarier
This was before,
time.
right.
Philadelphia, it was just in the movie theaters. Like, it was a much different time.
Yes.
My brother was not allowed to go to Israel. So I came out.
Israel turned you gay.
Israel turned me gay, and then I was an API.
Okay.
And so that was in December. I told my parents over spring break, so in March, and then I went back to school, and I told during a new business portion of the API meeting.
Okay.
I stood up, I raised my hand. Does anyone have any new business? Of course, I raised my hand. I said, I told my parents this, and you're my brothers, and so you should know this too. I lived in the house another year. I took a boy to formal. It was.
Did you feel like it was? I mean, at the time you said it was 97.
Yeah.
Did you feel like
there was no out frat boys in 97?
There was
I was Mr. Greek KU that year too.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel like the response from your? I would love a little bit more. That'd be amazing. Thank you so much. We only one.
Yeah, I'm good.
The pickles here are unbelievable. Ben, you're lucky Ben's not here because he would have something on the table. You'd be eating it. He's always picking. He's always picking. Did you feel like when you stood up and made that announcement, it was good response? Like, or what was
I got snaps. I mean, listen.
It was great. It was everybody super supportive.
Here's the deal. Like, if you, it so doesn't matter about anything. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. The only time it really mattered this year is when there were queers marching for Palestine, but that's a whole nother podcast episode. I mean, I'd say that if you want to be queers for Palestine, let me buy you a plane ticket and let me pay for you to go to Gaza and volunteer.
And see what it's like.
I'm happy to do it.
Sure.
Send me a postcard.
I love it.
Right? The intersectionality has been difficult, though, with the war, of trying to determine how all my different identities fit together. But I'll say it again, I read from right to left. So I'm Jewish, and that's really all that really matters.
Yeah.
And listen, my fraternity brothers were really my fraternity brothers.
Yeah.
And I think that says a lot about the brotherhood of API.
100%.
Andrew was an API too, so instead of a first kiss, we gave each other the secret handshake. I'm sure that'd be great for an API poster too.
I love that.
Right?
This is what we want to hear. Like, this is genuinely the conversation of, yes, you are a Jewish leader in St. Louis and in the community, but also you have your own unique.
Danny Cohn.
You're Danny Cohn,
right.
And like you said, reading right to left, like, yes, Jewish, but you're you.
Right.
And you're authentically you. You don't try to put on a face for anybody to put on this different persona. You go into a meeting with people, you go into a community with people.
People know exactly what they're going to get, right? Like, it is, I am not, if you can't, I try to be my authentic self every single day.
Yeah.
Sometimes that gets me into trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, but I own that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I own that this is.
Not everybody's going to like you.
No, and you know something, if I'm doing my job correctly, at least 25% of the community won't like me.
Sure.
Right? Like, if everyone likes me, there's a huge problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, we as Jews have been known to argue since the beginning of time. We argue and we eat.
Right.
We argue and we eat, okay? So if people aren't arguing about something that I've done before they eat, then I don't think that I've done my job the right way.
Right. If their food's not getting cold.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
And granted, like, we're just past the 3-month mark, so I'm still in the honeymoon phase, but I'm sure there's plenty of time that I'm going to irritate people.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just getting started.
Well, we're excited to see what you do for St. Louis.
Thanks.
I've noticed you've used a lot of your Yiddish vocabulary is incredible. We always like to ask, what is like your favorite Yiddish term?
Broigus.
Tell me about it.
Broygus.
Broigus.
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 Broigus. What is it?
Like agitated. Like,
Okay.
why are you so broigus today? Like, what is going on? What's your stick? Like,
Yeah.
why are you being like this? Why are you so broigus?
Yeah. Do you feel like you use a lot of Yiddish terms in your household?
It's so funny because I didn't think that I did until we moved here.
Okay.
And I write a column every other Friday,
Sure.
and I try to put a little bit of Yiddishkeit in it. And people are like, oh, and I'm like, that's just kind of the way it's been.
It's just your conversation.
It's just like vocabulary.
Yeah.
My husband and I argue about the Jewish word fress. Now, he hates the Jewish word fress. So, like, if I use
I don't know that I've heard it.
Fress is like, I'm going to go to the deli and I'm going to fress on food. I'm just going to,
Okay,
fress.
yeah.
It's like all day, just like
Sure.
grazing and eating and fressing.
That's what Ben does.
He hates it. He hates the word fress. He thinks it sounds low class. He doesn't want to talk about it. Like, it is like, so I'm not allowed to use the word fress.
Ever.
Right
now we're using
I'm
it.
using it, and he's probably like cringing at
Totally.
the notion.
Totally.
But broigas. And then, my grandmother, I still have one left, which is amazing. She's 94 years old.
Wow. Mine just turned 94 as well.
Gay kaken offen yam.
What is it?
Gay kaken offen yam.
Gay kaken offen yam.
Yeah. Yam.
Gay kaken offen
Gay
yam.
kaken
Gay kaken
offen yam.
offen yam.
Go shit in the river.
Go shit.
Right.
That's how you. It's
It's like, something? Screw you.
gay kaken offen yam. Gay kaken offen yam.
Yeah.
That's an unbelievable one.
And then I
love that.
And then I use, and my staff will vouch on this, I use Manish Tana all the time. Like Manish Tana Hayom Hazeh as opposed to Halal Hazeh.
Yeah.
So it's like, why should today be any different than any other day of what we're doing?
Yeah.
And so like when something like goes wrong, it's Manish Tana Hayom Hazeh. Like that's,
Oh my God, I'm.
so it's
I
like you
learned
get a
some
little
good-
bit, but it's just enough.
I love this. I love all of this. This is
It's
just.
been so fun.
This is great. And your daughter, she's gonna. You guys.
Her name is Nora.
Okay.
She's 10 and a half. She's at Camp Barney Meditz in Georgia right now, the Sabra of the South. She's going to go to the Ledoux 5th grade center.
My fiance is a teacher there.
Oh, great. Maybe they'll have
Just started. This was her first year. She just finished up her first year.
4 months to find a place to live here.
Is that right? The
Lost.
market's crazy.
Bidding hundreds of thousands over on houses.
I can't even imagine.
Offering years worth of rental, still not getting it. Again, by the grace of God and connections here, we have a place to live.
And the family, they're coming. They're.
So Andrew is here right now,
Okay.
scoping things out. The family will be together on July 12th.
And she'll be
So-
starting the school year here in St. Louis.
She's going to go to Camp Emmett the
Okay.
second half of the summer.
Great.
We'll get her enrolled in Ledoux 5th grade. She's super excited. My parents still live in Omaha, so she'll be able to take the plane all by herself
Yep.
away for an hour. Like
Yep.
she's like growing up, and this, like I said, this move really was for her. Like she was feeling like she wasn't getting what she needed Jewishly
Yeah.
in Birmingham,
Yeah.
which is also like kind of hurt your heart, right?
Sure. Because you do it all for her. At the
Right,
end of the day,
absolutely.
yeah.
And so, the week before camp was a mess. Like she's like spending the last night in her house, and it's like she's leaving her friends, and but once she gets here, and we go to donuts every Saturday. So like,
Oh, love
we'll find
it.
a donut shop.
Donuts with dad.
Donuts with
Donuts with dads.
We call it an Abba daughter day.
Abba daughter day. Are you both Abba?
No, Andrew's daddy. I'm Abba.
Wow, how'd you get so lucky? You
I
just
chose
said,
it. Like,
you said this is mine.
And I had a much more Andrew had a much more secular upbringing than I did. He probably thought it was the band.
Yeah.
And I have a sweater, and it's like hand stitched, and it says Abba knows best, and I wear it around. And I was at the grocery store, and some kid's like, I love Mamma Mia, and I'm like, I'm not even engaging with you. I'm like, I love Mamma Mia too. It's
great.
Right?
It's a great show.
Right? It's a great show. I'm not engaging with you, like, because Father Knows Best was a show in the 50s. Like, I was trying to do a rip off of it, and it was like this kid just thought I was out there singing Super Trooper.
I
and
love
it
it.
wasn't like sticking all of the rainbow dust back into my
Unbelievable.
pockets so that it doesn't, appear that way.
Yes. Oh, this is great. Thank you for chatting with me. This is awesome.
I hope this is good. I'm supposed to get a picture with you for social.
Yeah, we will. We'll We honestly, this is totally natural. This is it.
I love it.
Did you have any questions? Nobody's ever, there's a few questions people have had for us, but it's not about us. It's about you.
I know.
And I think you literally nailed it with telling the community exactly who you are. And
it's either going to be real good or real bad. I mean, it's going to be good, but
it's going to be great.
People are either going to be
no,
like...
you are great. You
are going to
great.
be like, what is going on here?
You are great.
People don't know what to do with me. Like, that's always been my thing. They don't know what to do with me. And I always say that if you don't like me, it's because you haven't figured out what to do with me yet.
Sure.
Right? Like, I'm an acquired taste.
You're in purgatory.
Right? I know exactly who I am. I know that I am not everyone's cup of tea.
Right.
But I can be anyone's cup of tea once they figure out how to use me for what they need to get
I love
done.
it.
And so I'm literally the vessel to get them someplace, as opposed to I don't need any glory. Like, I'm not out there trying to say campaign of the year. Like, that is not why I do this.
Yeah. Well,
I do it for this.
We appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much.